Classically Dad. Welcome to the channel. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment provides the protection of 5 basic rights: speech, press, petition, assembly, and religion. The First Amendment protects Americans' rights of free speech. Our founders realized the importance of free speech being written in the Constitution to protect citizens from government overreach. The primary reason free speech was added to the First Amendment is to allow Americans to critique the government without censorship, control, or arrest. It protects your right to express opinions, but there are some limitations to this protection. It protects speech that people like, and more importantly, speech that people do not. Even though you have a right to free speech, you are not protected from the consequences of all the things you say. The founding fathers of our nation were cognizant of the history of kings, tyrants, and governments imprisoning, torturing, or even killing people to maintain control over ideas. They believed that all people have the God-given right to speak freely. As these founding fathers debated over how this new nation's government should be structured, they knew this American government should protect, not take, the rights of expressing ideas. Most importantly, the freedom to speak of government corruption. Although Alexander Hamilton firmly believed in the people's right of free speech, he saw the Bill of Rights, including free speech, as unnecessary. He was worried that it would give people the wrong idea, that the only rights they held were the ones listed in the document. After many debates, Federalist Papers, letters, and Thomas Jefferson's strong insistence, the Bill of Rights went into effect in 1791, enshrining the idea of free speech into the thinking of Americans. The historical purpose of freedom of speech is to allow you to call out government corruption, but it also protects you from retribution from the government. You are protected to support political movements and candidates. You are free to express unpopular or even vile opinions. The Supreme Court established in Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, that speech encouraging illegal conduct is even protected unless it is likely to incite imminent lawless action. This was a case involving the Ku Klux Klan, and most people would find their speech evil and wrong, but it was protected. In 1984, the Supreme Court decided that burning the American flag was a form of political speech, and the government had no grounds to arrest or block anyone from doing so. Many find the act of burning the flag disrespectful to our country and our military, but it is considered protected speech. Throughout history, the First Amendment has intercepted the government for punishing people for not speaking, specifically the right not to salute the flag, wearing armbands protesting war, using offensive words to speak about political messages, hate speech, and calling the government corrupt. There are limitations to protected free speech. It is important to remember that the purpose of free speech, mentioned in the First Amendment, is to protect you from government overreach. It does not protect you from the consequences of the things you say. If your boss fires you for being rude, your First Amendment rights have not been violated. Your comments may cause you to lose a friend, get punched in the nose, or banned from your social media account. But as long as the government is not causing your misery, your freedoms are intact. If a student attends a school event on school grounds and he advocates illegal drug use, the school, a government agency, can suspend the student, and the Supreme Court historically will side with the school. If you yell fire in a crowded theater, you can be arrested by a government official. Speech that can lead to harm of others is not protected. The First Amendment does not protect obscenity, fraud, child pornography, speech that incites violence, slander, or even fighting words. Today, some argue that when the framers of the Bill of Rights decided to recognize freedom of speech, they could not anticipate how different American culture would be 200 years later. They sense a great negativity toward free speech and feel we need new limitations on what speech is protected. Publicly funded college campuses restrict public speakers who are considered controversial. Some argue that jail time would be sensible punishment for hate speech, negative words directed at a minority group. Others support government being able to punish the media. The founders codified the right of free speech in a written constitution, which doesn't change based on cultural and political movements. How do those who advocate for more restrictions to free speech diminish liberty? In what ways are the historical purposes of freedom of speech still necessary? If you were part of a new convention to rewrite the free speech portion of our Constitution, how would you change it? How have you observed government overreaching in its authority on free speech? Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. It's so nice when you share. Thanks for visiting. Classically, Dad.